Hello, and thanks for tuning in to the Biomass Magazine podcast. I'm your host, Anna Simet. We are here live at the International Biomass Conference and Expo in Atlanta, and I am here with my industry friend, Justin Price. He is co-CEO at Evergreen Engineering. Justin, hi, and thanks for coming on the podcast.
Hey, Anna, thank you so much for inviting me to be here. It's been a fantastic show. Great discussion panel this morning.
Thank you.
And it's been a fantastic show. Really appreciate the invitation and always appreciate being here with the Biomass team.
Well, thank you so much. We love to have you. So, Justin, to begin, how about you tell our viewers about yourself and Evergreen Engineering?
You bet. So, Justin Price, co-CEO of Evergreen Engineering. Evergreen is a 40-year-old company this year. We're celebrating our 40th anniversary. So we've been in the wood manufacturing biomass market for 40 years. Really excited about that. Mm-hmm. The essence of Evergreen, our core purpose basically is just create solutions. Yeah. Those solutions, sustain our industry. They elevate our expertise. They build lifelong partnerships for the community. We do that with practical, forward-thinking engineering. That's just really provides that impact to the industry. That's the core of who we are and what we do. Full-service engineering firm, mechanical, electrical, civil, structural, even chemical engineers on staff. 2 offices. Eugene, Oregon is our headquarters, our home office, and then we have our other office in Atlanta, Georgia. Both offices fully staffed, serving the wood product space, if you would, all things biomass.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say, I love how available you guys are. Like, whenever I have a question or, about something, maybe an industry topic that I don't have expertise in, and I ask a question or I need some help or some insight, you guys are awesome. You're just great company.
Yeah, it's been fun. I know when I first sort of started talking with you back in what feels like 100 years ago, but was probably only 10 or 15.
Yeah.
Being on the editorial board, working with the magazine, was a great experience, and learned a lot from you guys about the publication industry, how things happen, and that was a fantastic. Likewise, you guys have always been a great resource for us as well, and a great partnership. That's core to who we are as a business, and building those lifelong partnerships to impact the industry.
Absolutely. So, Justin, how are your customers approaching the need to utilize woody biomass that they've historically burned or sold to the pulp and paper industry? And I'm curious, how has this changed over time?
That's I think some of the exciting stuff we're getting to do and see today. Mm-hmm. With our background in the wood manufacturing, our history is with plywood, sawmills, particle board, MDF, OSB. The list keeps going and going. And then, of course, we've always had biomass power with the sawmills, the pulp mills, the paper industry, and things of that nature. So we've always had the power generation, and we've done biomass power plants. What we're finding is the shifting in the marketplace, right? And what we saw today in the earlier presentation that was given around the growth of the pellet industry was some years ago less than 1% of the total fiber used. It's now moving up to that 6%. So what we're seeing is the producers, the traditional wood manufacturing producers, are saying, hey, we have this byproduct, the chips, the hog fuel. What do we do with it? And we're seeing interest in expanding their markets. So we're seeing more of them moving into the biochar, the torrefaction, and trying to take their waste product stream and bring a better value to that. We're seeing everything from investments into the biochar market, but also doing more into composite materials, the plastics extrusions, using the wood as a filler to make those products, expanding into these sort of tertiary markets where wood or bio-based products have been playing. We're really seeing some growth in that. One of the, I think, exciting things is green chemicals. So if you go into the stores today, you will start to see cleaning products made out of other things other than petroleum-based products. Those are the really exciting things for me personally, just from a sustainability and environmental standpoint, but also that utilization of that biomass. And for me, when I think biomass, I think everything that comes out of forestry, agricultural-based products. It's not just the sawmills.
Yeah.
Right. It's not just timber.
Right.
A lot of those chemistries are starting to happen. The nanocellulosic side of things is really growing. There's been some exciting research into that. We've done some projects where we're making bio-based films. We're making bio-based liquid cleaning systems and things of that nature. So it's a pretty exciting time right now with the utilization of those fibers.
Very cool. So let's dig a little bit more into biocarbon. I mean, what a buzzword right now.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting to see this part of the industry finally gain so much traction. What outcomes do you see biochar and biocarbon leading to for your clients?
Yeah, so obviously we have some great, I'll say, traditional markets for that. So like we talked about the biocarbon, and when you take what do you do with this biocarbon, right? It's an activated carbon. And if you look at the market for activated carbons, you've got all kinds of things you can use, from water filtration for carbon systems that are storm drain maintenance systems of that nature. There's just a lot of that you can really start applying those activated carbons into that market. And that's just really opening up new doors for that carbon. And then we can add into that some of the really neat things that are happening around the BEX programs, the capturing and storage of that carbon system. And I think it's just an exciting time. I know there's turmoil and everybody is wondering what's to happen, but the long term is we've got to find uses for these things. And I just see the investments coming into those markets for it. So.
Awesome. So what about beyond the activated carbon market for viable products for residuals?
So the activated carbon is going. The other one is like soil amendments. Those are pretty well known. So and what we have found is when we work with our clients to generate a biochar, and they use that in the fields, is the agricultural world, the growing of things, whatever the farming, and we're very fortunate. We live in the Willamette Valley in Oregon, so there is and if it comes out of the ground, we can grow it in that valley, it feels like. So there's a lot of agricultural need there for that. And that bio-based carbon applied to the soil as a soil amendments and things is really growing. And what I'm seeing is the farmers who were skeptical 3, 4, 5 years ago are starting to now come around to that and see that. So I'm seeing that market grow, and that's really good. The other is, of course, there in Oregon, we have several facilities that are doing torrefaction and some other bio-based products out of that, and those are moving into it. The bio-based stuff is really around replacement of that carbon product. And we mentioned earlier the steel, green steel.
Yep.
I think you guys had a great article earlier this year, and Project of the Year award, and things of that nature around that. So those are the things that we're seeing where those companies are starting to ask about, how do I get a better, more environmentally friendly product? And then they look to the wood industry to do that. So we're seeing obviously things like the green steel, but we're also seeing things at beverage companies, let's say, looking to say, hey, we have a waste that's a bio-based waste. What do we do with that? So putting in more biomass power into these operationals and manufacturing. A lot of that's the CHP type projects that we're seeing coming.
Okay, this is a good segue for my next question. So what are some factors to consider? What are some factors to consider for your clients for the various industrial uses of the residuals? What things should you look at?
Yeah. So it's a bio-based product, right? And you kind of have to ask yourself, am I making something as big as a house, or big as a bread box, or big as a stadium?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times when I talk to our clients, the first question we have to ask is, how much of it do you have? And sometimes, if we work with, let's say, a firewood producer, and they have some waste and they want to do something with that, they have a lot of waste, and it is a real issue for them. And you have to scale that operational facility of what they're going to do with that based on what they can continually supply long term. And you don't want to, drain that resource inside of a short period because they can't keep up with it. So we really work with our clients to say, okay, let's look at your waste stream. What's its condition? How's it going to come to the mill? how much of it can you reliably bring in? And then we look at what else could you bring in around you. So we've traditionally used, it's kind of an old rule of thumb of that 70 to 100 mile radius of the facility for your resources. You can look inside that, what's available to bring into you. And that's where we start talking scale. So if you want to build a large-scale industrial manufacturing of pellets, that's obviously a different feedstock supply, and you'll have more variability in that. If you want to be within, a smaller production level, to use pellets as an example, and you want to just supply to your local, tractor supply or outlet through retail and do a bagged pellet, then that's a little bit different at that plant.
Yeah.
So really got to understand that scalability, and then working with the clients to say, okay, things are not linear as they go. Right?
Yeah.
It's just I built one at this size, the next one ought to be double or triple or whatever. Really working with the clients to understand that.
Okay.
And then the second challenge to that is their end product. When we talk to clients and they say, hey, I want to get into this like composite product that's a plastic extruded and it's got a wood blend in it and it's going to make this other product. Well, sometimes those capital costs, those investment costs, those hurdles can be rather large because it's not just the wood stream you have to consider, but it's also the equipment that you have to buy. And so there's some consideration to that. So we spend a lot of time, I'll say, educating and bringing up our clients to what you can do with that and really scaling that appropriately for the amount of waste that they can reliably bring to that facility.
Okay. Good answer. So you've been in this industry a long time. What are your personal thoughts? How can our industry meet energy and clean tech goals nationally and globally?
You're just inviting me to get on my soapbox.
I am.
So I've been in this industry for quite a long time. I've been involved in a number of organizations across the industry. I started my career pulling green chain at a plywood plant. For those that don't know, that's a pretty manual intensive job in a plywood plant, and it paid my way through college.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I loved it. I love the industry. I'm excited about the industry. I think we don't tell our story enough as an industry. Tim said it best this morning in his presentation around the Jenga, right? We keep pulling the little bitty pieces out, and policy, and taxes, and all these little pieces. As an industry, we need to kind of come together, from the CPA to the APA to the PFI to the hardwood associations to the softwood associations to the panel associations to the biomass associations. As an industry, we have to come together.
Yeah.
We have to have a unified voice. I think we have to tell our stories more, and I think that starts on a local level. So the things that we do is being involved in the local organizations. I'm excited as a company. We sponsor things like the Forest Today and Forever. It's a great organization there in Eugene that is bringing educational materials into the schools with elementary and middle school kids, taking those kids out to the forest to see how the harvest happens, to explain how fire tops move through dense forest versus sustainably managed forest. That's where it starts.
Yeah.
And as an industry partner, we have to be more vocal, and we have to combine our resources at a local level and a national level. But we have to bring the biomass agencies, the American Loggers Associations, the pellet fuel institutes into the conversations at the White House level. We have to be involved as a unified voice and talking about how the American Logging Association and the biomass industry are symbiotic in what we do. And we just have to tear down those walls within our industry first to unify our voice, and then we can have a bigger impact on what we do in the future of that.
Makes perfect sense. So, kind of segueing into what that message is, you say unified voice. What about for the broader bio industry? What is the message that we want to convey?
I think we have to drive home that sustainability point, right? I mean, to me, we can argue about climate science. Is it going up? Is it going down? We know the Earth is changing. We know that. It is happening. The science is there to prove it. We have really good solutions that benefit the Earth, and how we apply that technology is what we have to be. So we have to talk about our sustainability. We have to talk about our impact on the environment. We have to talk about how we can have those goals met, so that we can build alliances with the people who are fighting against us in the environmental struggles that we're facing. So to me, my message to others is get involved locally. Reach out to your local schools. Talk to them about what you do. Tell them about your sustainability practices. Tell them about what your product does. One of the things I talk to is in recruiting. We go to colleges, we're trying to hire young engineers.
Yeah.
They all want to change the world, and they want to have an impact on the world. Well, if you want to have an impact on the world, you want to have a sustainable impact on the world, and you want to have influence on what happens to this world, come into our industry. Obviously, come to Evergreen.
Yeah,
but
for sure, it's a great company.
but move into the industry. There's a lot that we're doing that is carbon sequestration. 2x4s, that's a chunk of carbon. The biomass, completely renewable baseload energy for our systems. We want all the electricity, all the battery power stuff that we need. We have to have the power for that. We have to have the baseload for that. Our industry is what's going to get us there for that sustainability. Mass timber, tall buildings now are through the building codes. All of these products that are all part of this wood products industry is where we're going to make a huge impact on our sustainability focus of what we do. So to me, that's my message.
Love it.
Talk to your team, tell everyone about the sustainability aspect of it, the science there that backs it. And yeah, I could talk on and on and on about that. I'm super passionate about it.
Yeah.
I love what we're doing in the green chemicals. I love the things that are happening in terms of alternative products that are replacing tried and true with equal or better, most of the time, of products that we're bringing to the market. So.
Love it. Well, my last question for you, Justin, is you guys come to this show every year. What's your favorite part of being here?
Hanging out with you guys.
Yeah?
No, honestly, the show is the hub for biomass and bioenergy. You guys cover all of the topics that we talk about. SAF, again, we didn't even touch on that. That is a huge part of our new interest in that.
Yeah.
Those are some exciting products. The RNC, the renewable natural gas, all of those things that we didn't even get to touch on is here. So it's not just pellets. It's not just biomass power. It's really the hub for everything we're doing in the industry and the investments and the partnerships coming together to connect and say, how are we doing? Where are we moving forward in the industry as a whole? This is the place for it, and that's why we come year over year over year. So.
Well said, and we're in Nashville next year, so
Excited about that.
Yeah. I love that venue. Well, Justin, thank you so much for coming on here and chatting, sharing your insight. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
Not for me. I just, I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. It's exciting as always. The show is a buzz. I've had some great connections with clients new and old, and always great to connect with the suppliers and the vendors here. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Justin, and have a great rest of the show.
Thank you so much, Anna.
Yeah. And to those of you who tuned in, thank you so much. Until next time.
Bye now.